America was not supposed to have an aristocracy, yet wealth has been so enormously concentrated into a few hands to where 22 billionaires now have as much as 50% of the American population. So we need an inheritance tax. We need a more steeply graduated progressive income tax so that the super rich are paying more and are paying their fair share up at least the 55 to 60% level. In addition to a fair tax structure and investing in the American people, we need a healthcare system that gets healthcare off the backs of everyday people, families, and particularly small businesses. And we can do that with a Medicare for all health insurance plan that provides health care to everyone. We also call for, as I mentioned before, ending student debt and making public higher education free. It pays for itself 7 to 1. For every dollar we put in, we get back $7 in return. So this is a very effective investment in our economy, in our future, and in the generation that will lead us forward into the economy of the 21st century.
Almost $800 billion a year. You know what that is? That means who's negotiating these trade deals? We have people that are political hacks negotiating our trade deals.
The IRS says an audit of your taxes, you're perfectly free to release your taxes during an audit. And so the question, does the public's right to know outweigh your personal?
Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit. Look, I've been under audit almost for 15 years. I know a lot of wealthy people that have never been audited. I said, you get audited? I get audited almost every year. And in a way, I should be complaining. I'm not even complaining. I don't mind it. It's almost become a way of life. I get audited by the IRS, but other people don't. I will say this. We have a situation in this country that has to be taken care of. I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes. When she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted, as soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns, and that's against my lawyers. They say don't do it. I will tell you this. No, in fact, watching shows, reading the papers, almost every lawyer says you don't release your returns until the audit's complete. When the audit's complete, I'll do it. But I would go against them if she releases her.
So it's negotiable?
It's not negotiable. No, let her release the email. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her ask that, but let me just admonish the audience one more time. There was an agreement. We did ask you to be silent, so it would be helpful for us. Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think you've just seen another example of bait and switch here. For 40 years, everyone running for president has released their tax returns. You can go and see nearly, I think, 39, 40 years of our tax returns, but everyone has done it. We know the IRS has made clear there is no prohibition on releasing it when you're under audit. So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. First, maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. Third, we don't know all of his business dealings, but we have been told through investigative reporting that he owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks. Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health. And I think probably he's not all that enthusiastic about having the rest of our country see what the real reasons are, because it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And the financial disclosure statement, they don't give you the tax rate. They don't give you all the details that tax returns would. And it just seems to me that this is something that the American people deserve to see. And I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns, because there's something he's hiding. And we'll guess. We'll keep guessing at what it might be that he's hiding. But I think the question is...
I think they're both right. I think the American people deserve disclosure. Instead of their arguing about who is the bigger corporate crook, I think they all need to just level with the American people. I think the American people do deserve to know what Hillary Clinton was doing with her time while on the company payroll. And if half of her emails were declared private while working a very busy job for the Secretary of State, that's an issue. If half of your emails on the job are for your personal interest, that's an issue. What we know about Hillary's dealings with the Prince of Bahrain arming the tyrant with a history of human rights abuses, providing a Russian corporation with 20% of the U.S. uranium supply is of concern. But on the other hand, what we know about Trump's dealings, his businesses are extremely of concern, where he, for example, with this investigative report from Newsweek, is involved in his business with the family of an Iranian involved in laundering money for the Iranian military. So Donald Trump appears to have a vast network of extremely unsavory and illegal connections that the American people deserve to know about. That may be why he's not releasing his tax returns. I think the American people deserve to know. But beyond that, we also deserve a politics of integrity. What you hear in their discussions here about what they're trying to hide is a merger of the economic and political elite that does not serve the American people, that does not serve the half of Americans who are struggling to stay out of poverty, does not serve the African Americans who are struggling against police violence and to stay out of the racist prison system. We need a politics of integrity where our government is not being funded by the big banks, the predatory fossil fuel companies, and the war profiteers who are subsidizing their campaigns, who provide the support for the Democratic and Republican parties. I'm the only candidate in this race that does not take money from lobbyists. I don't take money, from corporate interests. And I do not take money from super PACs and do not have a super PAC. So I'm the one candidate that actually has the liberty to support what the American people are clamoring for. And I think the American people deserve to know about all their choices here and the significance of those choices.
We're a serious debtor nation, and we have a country that needs new roads, new tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals. And we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
Let you
And
respond,
maybe
and we'll go
because you
next.
haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And the other thing I think is important
It would be
to point out
squandered too,
is
believe me.
if your main claim to be president of the United States is your business, then I think we should talk about that. You know, your campaign manager said that you built a lot of businesses on the backs of little guys. And indeed, I have met a lot of the people who were stiffed by you and your businesses, Donald. I've met dishwashers, painters, architects, glass installers, marble installers, drapery installers, like my dad was, who you refused to pay when they finished the work that you asked them to do. We have an architect in the audience who designed one of your clubhouses at one of your golf courses. It's a beautiful facility. It immediately was put to use, and you wouldn't pay what the man needed to be paid, what he was charging you.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, but I was unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do too.
The thousands of people that you have stiffed over the course of your business not deserve some kind of apology from someone who has taken their labor, taken the goods that they produced, and then refused to pay them. I can only say that I'm certainly relieved that my late father never did business with you. He provided a good middle-class life for us, but the people he worked for, he expected the bargain to be kept on both sides. And when we talk about your business, you've taken business bankruptcy 6 times. There are a lot of great business people that have never taken bankruptcy once. You call yourself the king of debt.